And thus we finally come to the end of the series. Episode 50 wasn't actually supposed to be the end of the series. There was supposed to be like more. We were robbed. What is this? But sadly, I just stopped being interested in playing with plush toys. You can kind of tell this from how badly I was phoning it in the last episode. So I decided to end the series. There is almost a year gap between episode 49 and this one. I just was not into it anymore. It happens, and it's okay. Also, this thumbnail's so funny. Why is Cactus so much higher quality than everything else? The final episode starts off with a flashback and a slightly retconned scene from episode 7. Oseus is opening the underneath and saying how life is bad and he will end all life.
Are you telling me to kill myself?
Yes, and Noctis tries to convince him to stop. Oseus grabs him and attempts to throw him into the pits, but Noctis is like, friends don't banish each other into hell, Oseus. Oseus then says that Noctis never really mattered all that much to him, and Noctis fucking pushes him in the underneath. This retcons the iconic scene where the plants and zombies all hold hands and form a flesh rope to grab Noctis. Truly a monumental loss to the PvZ plush canon. We then cut to Oseus in the underneath. The underneath now has this horrific red filter over it, and it's the sock man, yeah baby, he's back. He finds Oseus and they bond over their curse of immortality.
300,000 years!
I'd cry if I had to endure PvZ plush for 300,000 years too, even if this character goes on to commit like the most horrible crime imaginable, he'd still be a sympathetic villain. The Sockman reveals that there is a gem of the underneath equivalent for every dimension, which is a thing now, and it brings out the gem of the overneath, which is that place from all the way back in episode 12. Sockman also lists various other dimensions, so we have the underneath and the overneath, and apparently Earth is just called the neath. Also, there are some other ones, like the left and right neath. Yes, the left and right neath. I am really just phoning it in at this point. Already given in my letter of resignation. Oseus is tasked with grabbing all of the gems of every dimension. Oseus asks why the Sockman trusts him so much, to which he responds that they have a common goal. We then cut to the present.
Okay, Council. What the hell? What is that?
After triggering a realistic depiction of a panic attack in Squash, the plants are throwing a party for the 4th anniversary of their unentrapment from the seed packets.
Yep, that's right. 4 years of constant zombie attacks. 4 years of horror and pain and misery.
We're only celebrating as a coping mechanism.
So the events of the series have left these poor souls scarred, beaten, and mentally unwell, and they're all sick of it. I think this whole plot might just be me projecting of how tired I was of making these videos. But uh-oh, it's the zombies who are going to versus the plants. The final instance of floral assault in the series. A tragic end to such an overplayed joke. Noctis is rallying up the zombies for an attack.
Alright zombies, time for yet another attack.
But just sounds so unmotivated and tired. We then get a modified version of the intro which takes place over the course of this battle. Split Pea is then consumed by an unholy magical vortex. So the zombies just lose halfway through the intro.
Is that it?
Wait, where's Conehead?
But Conehead is nowhere to be found because he's off in the corner having intercourse with Blover or something. I hate this subplot, I hate it. So the intro ends and the episode starts with Noctis complaining whilst the zombies are all dead in a pile. Noctis then says that it was a last-ditch attempt as he considers giving up getting the gem of the underneath as he just cannot take it anymore. Noctis then says the gem of the underneath hasn't done anything for them, which is just so true. He says that they should all walk up to the castle and apologize to Woody and then go their own ways. Noctis, I don't think a simple sorry is going to make up for all of the horrors you have subjected that poor man and the plants to. You have unleashed hordes of undead, weapons of war, and multiple gods of chaos against them. You should not be a free man. Noctis asks all the zombies of their opinions, and they all agree.
Maybe we all need to grow up, put away our toys and stop filming them.
I get it!
Noctis asks for Conehead's opinion, but he's still on a date with his problematic relationship. Like, think about the age gap here. In order for Conehead to have done half the things he's claimed, he must have spent decades, if not centuries, in that time machine. Conehead plans to tell Blover all of the horrible things he's done. So that's the whole subplot. He also calls his relationship an environmental war crime. I won't disagree with you there. We then cut to Aldi Brand Doctor Who yelling at Shigwe, proclaiming there to be no future. He claims that there will be death and fire and burning and agony.
Oh, that sucks.
They both get in the time machine to gather supplies, but uh-oh, it's Dr. Edgar George Zomboss who's finally shown his ugly mug after just vanishing for half the season. He plans to steal the time machine.
All of time and space, and the best value for good food has and always will be Tesco's meal deals.
Zomboss realizes that this is too big of an opportunity for his goons to squander, so decides to finally get off his ass and go take care of it himself. We then cut to Noctis rehearsing his apology for his extremely long list of heinous crimes. It then cuts to Noctis actually apologizing. Woody ain't having none of it. Then Noctis says Woody's name instead of calling him the cowboy or some other slur, and that convinces him. He then discusses a truce with the plants. The plants are reluctant to forgive the zombies, but then Woody hits them with the excuse of they were just following orders. No, I'm pretty sure they've said on multiple occasions that the only reason they keep doing this is because they're bored. Woody then comes up with a very valid point. The zombies are immortal. They cannot die. They will eventually win even if him and the plants spend the rest of their lives fighting. There is nothing they could do, as the force of time that renders all matter to dust does not affect the zombies. They then all take a vote on it.
I agree, I've been here like 2 episodes and I'm already tired as hell.
Megan Shroom, that's so real and true. What an icon. So sad that he appeared like twice. Split Pea doesn't agree, but the other head agrees. You know what, other head of Split Pea? I may not talk about you much, but you're alright. You just need some sort of buzzsaw.
I agree.
I like how Mini Chomp and Goldie just fall over whilst Woody is talking. Really adds to the quality of this episode. It then starts playing ethereal music whilst Woody and Noctis reconcile. They shake hands and write their names on a wall like a peace treaty, and then...
And done. We are officially friends.
Shake my hand.
Okay, buddy.
Now.
Yes! Woody then gets fucking shot by Zomboss and is killed. He's dead. That's it. He's done. And it's just played completely seriously with an ominous drone in the background. Why is it like this? This is so funny. He's just dead. Zomboss then obtains the gem of the underneath, and the episode ends on a to be continued whilst the ominous drone still plays. That was the saddest episode of PvZ Plush yet. Can't believe Woody died. He was the glue that held this series together. But the tone of that episode was so off. Like, all the plants and zombies just sounded utterly drained and emotionless. Also, they could just use the pencil of healing, which was established literally last episode to be able to heal gunshot wounds. But do I look like a masterclass writer? Part 2, baby. The episode starts out with a flashback of me moving my camera around the house and applying weird color filters. She has obtained the gem of the underneath equivalent from all of these realms, but the last one is missing, being revealed to be in the possession of the future time travel man. Oh, what a twist. The intro then plays. We then cut to Woody's lifeless body as Squash is like,
Fuck you, zombies, hey you.
Peter yells at Zomboss asking him why he is back. Did we kill you? Haven't you learned anything, you stupid green ticket dispenser? Then they get put in a big bag. Zomboss then greets his children, who haven't seen him for over 10 years. Zomboss says the truce was silly anyway, and is disappointed in Noctis. Noctis then stares into nothing and then snaps back into the Noctis persona. Truly one of the most tragic characters in all of fiction. Bucket is then tasked with burying Woody's body, and then Zomboss asks what the gem of the underneath is. Noctis explains. Purple is like, Noctis, maybe giving the most powerful item known to mankind to an insane, sociopathic immortal is bad or something. And Zomboss just gives Noctis the gem anyway. The goons then take the plants back to the base. Shut up!
Ow, my hip!
You don't have bones!
Ow, my hip!
Zomboss then calls his bitch wife Mama Z to assemble all of the zombies.
Ugh, women!
We then cut to Conehead and Blover's shitty relationship drama. I don't care! Blover is getting frustrated at Conehead as he keeps dancing around trying to reveal he is the sole cause of all evil across the timeline of Earth. She compares it to a time when she was little, and then she's like,
wait a minute, I can't remember being little.
oh no! This distresses Blover, as she realizes that she can't remember, and that she can't remember. Blover cannot remember. Conehead then says Creeps and Picky probably have some sort of remember device, and they go try and talk to them. We cut to the time traveler observing Zomboss.
Hello?
Zomboss immediately notices him and reveals he saw him and Shigwe use a time machine. He calls Shigwe Fabric Boy. The time traveler reveals he is here to warn Zomboss of a terrible event. He says that a malevolent force will come to eradicate the earth of all living things. Zomboss thinks that force is him. He is wrong. Zomboss then demands to use the time machine. Mama Z then grabs him. Future Conehead is like,
Why didn't I see this coming?
and then we cut to Conehead, who has stumbled across Bucket disposing of Woody's corpse.
Hey, Bucket, what you doing? I'm completing the circle of life. Can we go? I'm scared. Yeah, he's scared of me more than I am of him. He's not foolish enough to hurt you. I can see all of the lives you have shattered and burned. Classic Bucket.
Zomboss spots him with Blover and is like,
What are you doing with a plant? You can't have that.
Jesterhead then yoinks Blover and Conehead is taken by Meiji. It's him! He's back! Wow, Zomboss then scolds Conehead for being in a relationship with Blover. Just what we needed in the final episode of PvZ Plush, an allegory for an unsupportive homophobic father.
And take him to therapy. Therapy?
Conehead is then taken to therapy. About time, get that man on some meds. We then cut to Noctis about to open the underneath. Purple calls this a terrible idea, and Noctis is like,
Yeah, but I don't care anymore.
poor Noctis. Such a sad little cuboid. They question him on the surrendering thing. Noctis calls Duckus by his actual name instead of something like Cuckus. Creeps asks Noctis if this is about Woody, then Noctis tells Creeps that he's the only one he has left. Noctis then laments about treating all of the zombies and Creeps like garbage for the entire series. Jesterhead then throws Blover into Zomboss's jail or whatever, and we see all of the plants incarcerated.
Oh, you're all alive. Yep, he may be able to take away our freedom.
Also, Woody died.
She doesn't react much to this, which the other plants question. Blover is still having an existential crisis about not being able to remember much of her life, which the other plants reveal to also experience.
Would you all shut up? Woody's dead. We just discovered that our past don't make sense. I mean, what? I woke up one day and
So Blover just triggers all of them to have an existential crisis as well. Really what they needed right now, Blover. This is why the only person you can get is a pan-dimensional terrorist. Conehead is then literally dropped into therapy, where we are introduced to the best character in the series, Mr. Weed.
I died after breaking my neck and falling into a river. I couldn't scream and the pain was too intense and I slowly drowned.
wow.
Mr. Weed is the final goofy comic relief character who will say the final wacky and zany phrases of the entire series. Conehead then vents about his wife to Mr. Weed, saying that a clover and a corpse wouldn't work out.
Yep, love can do that to you. Why, when I was alive, I caught my ex-wife cheating on me, so I jumped off a bridge, broke my neck and drowned. But I worked past that.
Mr. Weed says he doesn't have any objections to Conehead's relationship, but advises to keep it on the down low because his father's a tyrannical dictator.
Think it's okay?
Yeah, your life, not any of my business. Plus, they used to be people, you know.
Bringing back that plot. Whoa. We then cut to future Conehead and Shigwe being tortured to reveal the location of the time machine.
Nothing you can do will ever faze me. I have seen and experienced and caused awful things. Twice sometimes. Though now that I think about it, I kind of caused this. Oops.
That's true, actually. If you would have just not shown up, Zomboss wouldn't have arrived, Woody would still be alive, zombies and plants would have achieved peace. Even unintentionally, Conehead is still an agent of chaos and misery. We then cut back to Norwich. He has now mustered up the courage to finally throw the gem into the pit.
This is still a bad idea.
It'll be fine. What do you think this is? Some sort of Plants vs. Zombies Plush episode 50, the final episode?
Peak writing.
Oh, well.
And that's it. Yeah, it just ended. Me when I lie. That's how the series ends. There is no part 3. That's it. That's the end of PvZ Plush. You could really tell from the line delivery that I was just not enjoying making this anymore. So I just stopped making them. Was it the right thing to do? Maybe. At least it didn't end on that episode. Poor Noctis. Finally made it to the underneath, but the series ended before he could go in. And the other time he did go in, it got fucking retconned. No wonder why he was so miserable in that episode. Presumably what happened was Noctis tripped and fell into the underneath and broke his neck. So now what? I mean, I don't really have any intention to make part 3 of the finale, but there is quite a lot of the video left. And I do have an old Google document with the plot summary in it. So now you will all know the true ending of PvZ Plush after all these years. Part 3 would have opened with a flashback of Osiris returning to the Sockman after the events of Shigwe's Inferno and being scolded for just missing the opening of the underneath. He is then scolded further as the Sockman realizes that all but 2 of the gems have been collected, the gem of the underneath and the gem of my sofa. Then the zombies would have all jumped in the underneath and encountered the Sockman and Osiris again. Noctis would have been like,
You stupid skeleton, I hate you.
Sockboy would tell them to shut the fuck up, and then Noctis would question where all the horrific nightmare entities that would let him conquer the planet are. Sockman tells him about the ultimate being, and Purple flips the fuck out due to the events of episode 33. Socklad then gathers up some ominous altar pieces, which probably would have been like a discarded plug or something, and tells them all to get out of the underneath. All that build up, and they would have spent like 5 minutes here. Amazing. Osiris and Noctis would then reconcile and be friends again. Yay! And then Zomboss would arrive and be like, Wahahaha! And reveal he stole the last gem from the time traveler, completing the set of gems, which excites the Sockman. Purple is still freaking out, so is also sent to therapy with Conehead. Also Shigwe and the Time Traveler are sent there as well to try and convert them to his side. They'd all have a conversation or something, and would decide to try and find the time machine. It then cut back to Osiris and Sockman having a conversation. Osiris would be like, oh, but we can't kill Nabbit. He's so awesome and cool. Maybe killing everything is bad or something. Sockman would then start having a rant of some kind and reveal that he is actually Osiris from an alternate timeline. Who could have ever seen this coming? And then the episode would have ended. Part 4 would have opened with Sockman being sent to this universe after the events of episode 33, 300,000 years in the past. And then time would advance as he slowly would go more and more insane as he was immortal. In the present, Sockman would be convincing Zomboss to try and sacrifice the plants to summon the god of death. Conehead, Purple, Shigwe, and future Conehead escape therapy and attempt to rescue the plants. They find the time machine, but future Conehead just gets inside and runs away and leaves them all to deal with it themselves. They then arrive to see all of the plants chained up by a strange altar where Noctis, Picky, and Creeps and the zombies also stand. The other zombies are just sat watching this happen. Sockman combines all of the gems together into one super ultra mega gem of not just the underneath, but every direction. He does this as apparently Cedric alone cannot kill an undead person, even though he has literally done that on screen. So apparently it needs the power for every single gem of the underneath equivalent to destroy an immortal soul. I love retcons. He then proceeds to try and sacrifice a plant before Conehead, Shigwe, and Purple arrive. Zomboss is enraged by this and makes the zombies attack them as they try and rescue the plants, but the other zombies don't attack. They refuse to hurt their brothers and are starting to reconsider this whole thing. There is then a massive fight between the main 6 zombies and the other zombies, but the 6 are all eventually detained. Noctis, Creeps, and Picky are just stood there confused. A huge beam of light emanates from the altar as the superpowered gem is placed upon it. Sockman begins tossing the plants into the beam of light. The zombies watch in dismay, but Blover is then thrown in, which utterly enrages Conehead. He breaks free from his prison and starts levitating. His wrath has returned, and he will make them all suffer. Well, no, because according to this, apparently he gets a brick thrown at him, and it just knocks him out of it. After sacrificing all of the plants, Sockman realizes that they still need more souls. Undead souls wouldn't work, so he quickly kicks Creeps, Noctis, and Picky into the beam of light, which causes Oseus to be sad and snap, and reveals Sockman to be himself from an alternate timeline. Purple and Oseus explain to the other zombies and Zomboss that they've been duped into help summon a horrific death god, but it's too late. The sky blackens and a huge portal appears, releasing Cedric onto the world. So all of the plants are dead. Noctis, Picky, and Creeps also dead. The god of death itself has awoken. Looks pretty bleak for the zombies. Part 5 would have opened with a flashback to episode 33. Cedric blasts the zombies with a death ray, but it does nothing. Also, apparently when the universe was eradicated, the zombies were still there. Zomboss has made the zombies able to resist the heat death of the universe. So after presumably another one of those fucked up intros like the godforsaken Bill Cipher episode, we cut back to Cedric being released. It quickly grabs the gem and tries to blast it, however it just does nothing. The Sockman explains that he doesn't want the universe to end this time. He wants Cedric to kill him. However, out of nowhere, the gem of the underneath is stolen by Scurvy, who has been freed by Conehead and Oseus during the summoning. Cedric is really pissed off and tries to blast the zombies with its normal laser, but fails. He then summons phantom versions of all the characters thrown into the beam of light, blasts Shigwe, and also turns him into a phantom, and then flies away. The phantoms begin to attack the zombies, and then we would have gotten a montage of Cedric annihilating all life on Earth.
The city.
Towns burn, governments crumble. There would be a bit of Conehead masquerading as the United States President during the events of Scroobly Woobly Spacily Timely, telling the military to launch an atomic bomb at Cedric, which levels a small city, and Cedric just tanks it. Conehead then runs away in the time machine. Also, I like how Cedric can tank a nuke, but not a small stone. Purple suggests that they use the pencil of fucking wishing, please no, to reverse the events of this episode. Ducker suggests that they should just reverse the events of the entire series because of the trauma, and Oseus agrees, giving him an opportunity to rebuild his relationship with Noctis and Creeps. Conehead would then, and I quote, say a funny thing which would alert the phantom of Noctis and Creeps like they remember something, and they'd stand and stare at him, but then would quickly snap back out of it. They all find Meiji, who is hiding in a bin, and they ask her where the pencil of wishing is. She just has it apparently. Before they can use it, Cedric comes back. It sees the pencil of wishing and is just really pissed, like unimaginably pissed, and starts chasing after them. Zomboss attempts to redeem himself by ordering the other zombies to attack Cedric. They then manage to set off the wish, and we get a montage of every previous episode like the last time this exact thing happened. It would rewind to the point where Noctis and Creeps would find the zombies in the drawer. It seems like they won, but then Cedric bursts out of thin air, having followed them, grabs the pencil of wishing, and fucking snaps it in half. It wishes to send all of the zombies to the end of time, as it reminds them that this was always going to be the fate of immortals. The zombies are all banished to sit alone on a dying planetoid a quadrillion years in the future, and the episode ends. Yep, just keeps on going. Can you see why I didn't want to make this? The universe has ended as the zombies discuss the events of the series. All seems lost as they are doomed to spend an eternity living in an empty world. The gem of the underneath is still in possession of Purple, as Frederick is a stupid fucking moron and sent his victory condition to the end of time. All seems lost until the time machine appears again and the future Conehead pops out. The other zombies scold him for abandoning them, and he apologizes, saying this is just how the timeline has to be. He then reveals to Conehead that they are one and the same, and Conehead doesn't believe him, as he would not give a single shit about the causality of existence, and demands that he takes them back to go and destroy Frederick. Future Conehead calls present Conehead an idiot as they have no way to destroy him. Conehead mentions that the Phantom, Noctis and Creeps had a moment of lucidity. Perhaps they could be restored with the power of memories. Basic suggests that they use the time machine to send Frederick to the end of time where it can't hurt anyone anymore. But they need a distraction. They travel back to the present. Frederick instantly spots them and is just so angry that they just won't die. It orders all of the phantoms to attack. Duckus picks up the phantom fume shroom and gets it to gloop the gem. The gem comes alive and is driven mad by a multitude of other voices in its head from the fusion. It gains its composure and begins attacking Frederick as it demands Frederick to rebel against its creator's wishes. Frederick disagrees and the two begin an epic kaiju battle. Down below, Conehead begins breaking Creeps' devices, which enrages the Phantom Creeps and restores his memories. I didn't specify how the others would remember, so I don't know. Creeps would kiss Noctis or something, which would awaken Noctis, which would awaken Split Pea because he's homophobic, which would awaken Starfruit because she hates Split Pea's voice, which would set off a chain reaction of characters remembering. Purple and the Sockmen would also start beefing with each other over the events of episode 33 before Osseous kicks the Sockman in the shins or something. Meanwhile, Frederick and the Gem of the Underneath continue to fight. Future Conehead attempts to pilot the time machine into Frederick, trapping him inside and banishing him to the end of time. Frederick would panic, destroy the time machine, and then pin the Gem of the Underneath against the wall, pluck the Gem of the Underneath out of the gloop, and stab it in its eye. Everyone would start celebrating as the Sockman would be tied up at their feet before an ominous beam of light would burst out of Frederick, causing an enormous shockwave that would literally destroy all of existence. But this time, the zombies are destroyed too. All except, of course, Conehead. A universal constant that just will not die. He spots his future self on a crumbling piece of existence, and they'd both make their way to the epicenter of the beam, and the episode would end. Bit of an ambitious episode, really. How would I make a kaiju fight between two superpowered gods using a dream catcher and a jar of silly putty with a stone in it, also with the budget of nothing? Anyway. Conehead and his future self arrive at Frederick. Conehead is curious as to how on earth they even stand a chance against Frederick, but his future self reminds him that they put a lot of work into this world and they aren't going to let Frederick ruin it. Filled with determination, Conehead and his future self charge at Frederick. Conehead's godlike abilities are starting to come back, and this time there are two of them. Frederick tries again and again to blast them. They quite literally begin toying with Frederick, but it manages to grab one of them, and then charges up a beam. The other version then quickly gets in the way of the beam, which causes a thing to happen. The two Coneheads begin to fuse into a godlike being. Frederick is baffled by this and attempts to blast them again, but the superpowered Conehead just fucking parries it away. Conehead tells Frederick to get the fuck out of his universe, and the two begin a fight. An eldritch abomination from the dawn of time versus the embodiment of death itself, Average United States Election. A rock remix of In the Year 2525 would play as Conehead would absolutely pummel the shit out of Frederick. Like, there is just no contest. Frederick doesn't stand a chance. This sounds like an epic battle, but in actuality, if this got made, it'd just be... Conehead will then grab the Gem of the Underneath from Frederick's eye, then turn it around and blast Frederick with it, killing death itself. The two Coneheads unfuse and now sit in a dead universe with nothing but the Gem of the Underneath. The two discuss what now, and the future Conehead discovers the wreckage of his time machine and plans to send Conehead to become him. He will sit here in the rubble of his own creation. However, the two hands from episode 41 appear and congratulate Conehead for getting rid of Frederick. They forgive him for creating this world and apologize for what they did to him, and offer to let him transcend with them once again. Conehead declines. They want their world back. The two Coneheads hold hands and begin to reset the timeline, up until the point at which Cedric deleted the universe. Everything is restored, the day is saved, etc. The series ends on a funeral for Woody, who wasn't restored, but then Zomboss appears and reveals he turned Woody into a zombie. Wowie. Conehead finally tells Blover the horrible things he's done. She looks like she's going to forgive him, but runs away in fear at the last second. Zomboss offers to give the plants their memories back, and Fumshum gloops the gem of the underneath so it can defend itself. Noctis and Woody reconcile, Conehead and his future form swap hats as Conehead goes off to become him, and the series ends. So that was, well, what was supposed to be the ending of PvZ Plush, since the only thing that was reset was Cedric destroying reality. I guess most life on Earth is just gone. Oh well. Probably would have been anticlimactic to have the God of Death have 0 confirmed kills. There also would have been a little montage of what the characters were getting up to after the series ended, but I never specified what character would do what, so I guess I'll do it now. Okay, Noctis and Creeps get married and adopt Yoshi. The zombies teach Woody the horrors of immortality. Oseus and Noctis become best friends. Split Pea is executed. Duckus makes a living by drawing NSF commissions on Twitter. I don't fucking know. Bucket is given schizophrenia meds and begins to recover. Pea Shooter moves on from Sunflower and instead joins the Pea Daddy Polycule. Sunflower and the rest of the plants, I don't know, travel the world, spreading life to the now dead Earth. Squash gets put in a retirement home. Basic becomes a gaming YouTuber, so you know what? This video is canon. Blover still has a thing for undead corpses, so I don't know, dates fucking Chaz Pompadour or something, sure. Future Conehead writes a book on his various adventures. Picky goes on to create an onion from Pikmin, and Pikmin eventually repopulate the entire Earth, making the entire Pikmin series canon to PvZ Plush. Cactus dies of a heart attack aged 52. Scurvy loses his other eye in a confrontation with Mini Chomp. Goldie crashes the entire economy and causes a recession. Wally hits the gym and becomes a tall nut. Zomboss is given the lethal injection by the authorities. And finally, after the series, Purple... what will Purple do now? What will Purple do now? Purple will rank every episode of PvZ Plush. Yeah, let's go, baby. Number 50, Full Metal Dino. Fucking awful episode. Clickbaits you with cool, awesome robot dinosaurs, but no, nothing. Just unfunny jokes that make me uncomfortable to have made this. Why does Noctis mention the Syrian Civil War? Why does Duckus mention hentai? Bottom tier, straight to the fucking darkest, dankest depths of any tier list. Number 49, The Awakening. Genuinely unwatchable tripe. What a horrendous start to the series. Imagine how much more popular the series would have been if it didn't open with a petting shot of Woody from Toy Story spouting a bunch of nonsense about the gem of the underneath. Number 48, Lights Out. Stupid, nothing episode. Like, not much happens. They're just like, oh no, the sun's gone. And then they instantly resolve it. There are no wacky and zany phrases. The only redeeming thing about this episode is that it has the first instance of Conehead bending the laws of reality by turning the sun off. Number 47, Plants vs. the fucking education system. The plot makes no sense. The new characters are forgettable. Like, who the fuck remembers the Triceratops from The Land Before Time? That's my favourite PvZ Plush character. Also, it's just really unfunny. Like, it just might be the least funny episode in the entire series. Number 46, a full 180. Do I really need to explain the issues with this one? 5 episodes spent building up a wacky contraption just for it to summon Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls, who then goes on to start singing a parody of a song about contraceptives and then racially oppresses Noctis and Grapes for being cubes. Get out! Why are you here? Saw his own dimension burn. I'd burn my fucking dimension as well if it had these fucking things in it. Number 45. The Beaming of Life. Need I say more? If this episode was made today, do you think Conehead would say skibbity riz? Number 44. Conio and Bloviette. The last full episode of this series is this. It's just shit. Like I said, it plays out more like a fan fiction written by a preteen girl than an actual episode. And the Blover and Conehead relationship. Why? 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 Number 43. The Mallard and the Mage. More like the Mallard and the Page of fucking text. Plants are actually people, guys. It's so tragic. We don't need 2 zombie-plant relationships. We don't even need 1. Number 42. Ain't no Sully like it. The only reason this episode isn't in the bottom 3 is because the title is funny. Why does this episode exist? Number 41. Perplexing Pikmin. We get introduced to iconic PvZ Plush character Picky, and then shenanigans and chill. At least it has Noctis posing sexually on a Tupperware tub. Number 40. Colossal Scandal. For such a plot-relevant episode, it sure does suck. I'm the skeleton from Minecraft. Fun fact about this episode, if you turn the subtitles on, you can see I added horrendous dialogue from Cedric. Also, this episode got retconned a bit in the finale, so half of it isn't even relevant. We care about the canonicity of a PvZ Plush episode. Number 39, The Corrugated Killer. Everyone dies in the first few minutes, so the only characters left are Goldie and Scurvy, who both are boring and not iconic. Why is the antagonist cardboard? Number 38, Piranha on Plant, more like Piranha on piss. The only somewhat good part of this episode is Conehead tormenting Shigwe in a back alley. The Piranha plant itself is not good. Number 37, Bad Deal. An episode with the phrase morally questionable Splatoon drawings isn't gonna rank very high. It does have Shigwe shenanigans, which puts it higher than the rest of the unfunny, edgy early episodes. Number 36, Fear of the Dragon. Not that good, but I find Noctis being afraid of Taxmen quite funny.
Mortgages.
Also, the Ender Dragon's death scene was really funny. I also appreciated the random inclusion of the Breaking Bad Mexico filter. Number 35, Secrets of the Shroomy Woomy Commie Wommy Con. Why is there so much religious subtext? It's so weird. Stop it.
It's like some sort of Book of Bill.
Because he shows up here. Get out of here. At least he doesn't sing about birth control in this one. Number 34, Stop the Bass. Why did I make a musical episode? It has like 2 funny moments. One being where Picho gets fucking blasted into orbit by a bass-boosted Seinfeld theme, and Noctis saying, Your mother. I cannot sing. Stop! Number 33, Root Tubers.
The plants and zombies start rival YouTube channels.
Could be a funny concept, but it isn't. But it does have the most realistic depiction of a PvZ Garden Warfare 2 player in a plush video, so that's something. Number 32, A Prickly Presence. Only up this high because the cactus plush looks really funny. The plot is non-existent, so it's just a bunch of shenanigans for 10 minutes before Waluigi shows up and overpowers Conehead and leaves. Number 31, Who MD. Come on, man, this episode had so much potential. Get into the Doctor Who parody more. Have the Daleks show up or something. Or the Cybermen, which could just be like zombie plushes wrapped in tinfoil. The episode should have ended with future Conehead reversing the polarity of the neutron flow, not throwing a cup of fucking water at Olimar from Pikmin. If I made this episode today, I'd just put a little plush of a dog on the time machine and just have it not explained or acknowledged at all. Number 30, the final episode. It doesn't even end, which will knock it down a bit, and the planned plot was very long and incomprehensible. Also, the plants just get no screen time at all. They're locked in a room for the first half of the finale, and then dead the rest of it. That's what happens when you have to wrap up hours of an insane person's ramblings. Number 29, Past Not Tense. Why did you give Noctis a tragic backstory? Just make him a silly little guy. But an episode that features mainly Noctis and creeps is automatically going to be ranked higher than a lot of them. Number 28, Floral Assault. It may be borderline unwatchable, but the amount of mileage I've gotten out of that name in these retrospectives has to put it up higher. Yes, this is the sort of thing I'm basing this ranking on. It does set in motion the tone of the series. Noctis yelling at the zombies, the plants versusing the zombies, the nonsensical defeats, the random character introductions, like Starfruit, who starts pushing out every unfunny 2016 SJW joke at once.
Pronouns! I hate pronouns.
refer to me as nothing. If it wasn't for that, this episode would be higher. Number 27, the great and powerful Yoshi. Points deducted immediately for it inducing childhood trauma in me because my chemistry teacher, against my will, put this episode on in class because some wretched child told them to. God forbid I tell people about the things I do, but it has Duckus being crushed by a truck, so that's something. Number 26.
Mama Z, hey, it's me, Mama Z. I'm gonna yap for 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna go attack the plants and die immediately. This is Mama Z signing off.
I liked it when Conehead got hit in the head. Number 25. Wacky weaponry. This episode is wacky. It has jokes. Like when a Bucket states to have killed many people. that was a good one, Bucket. Or the BuzzFeed quiz. Yeah, that was a thing that happened in this episode. Just because it's this high doesn't mean it's watchable in any way. The bar's so low. Number 24. Duckus and Basic's mediocre adventure. Yeah, pretty much in the middle. As mid as it gets. Basic and Duckus just walk around for 15 minutes and talk to random people. Number 23, Watery Grave introduces my man Chaz. Also, the episode gets bonus points for not being in that fuck-ass Toy Story wallpaper-looking blue carpet bedroom for once. Number 22, Zombies on Strike. This episode is just funny. Like, why does Noctis have the Marvel Infinity Gauntlet? That's an established thing now that exists in the universe. And it gave me that clip of Purple saying that's actually the least funny thing you've ever done, so it gets more points for that. Number 21, Christmas Tree Caper. Again, different environment. Has iconic PvZ Plush character, the Nutcracker, and even more iconic PvZ Plush character, the Nutshacker. Number 20, Infinite Flutter. An episode featuring multiple of the great and powerful Yoshi would seem like it'd be really, really bad, but it's actually kind of funny, because it has Big Yoshi in it. Also, one of the Yoshis being a fucking photorealistic dinosaur is kind of funny too, but this episode is still barely watchable, which is really sad considering it's like number 20 out of 50. Number 19, Air Razor. Purple. It's me, the clown from PvZ2, the Dark Ages. I'm gonna clown all over you. Woody being sucked into a tornado of death and screaming was comical. Epic Deltarune reference. What's not to love? Other than the plot, most of the dialogue, and the camera work. Number 18, Bulb Fiction introduces my man Dr. Edgar George Zomboss. I should rank this lower because of the unfunny Reddit jokes, but Conehead slamming his face on a keyboard is such a funny visual. Again, just because the episode is this high doesn't mean it's any good. Number 17, Cheap Imitation. This episode was incomprehensible, but in a funny way. Why did Zomboss just have a guy in his wardrobe for 10 years? Why can Imitator transform into Bill Cipher and the God of Death? Why does he get Woody arrested for faking a Tesco hand robbery? This is what the rest of Season 3 should have been. It can be overcomplicated in a funny way. Number 16, The Reprise of the Zombies. It's really funny that by making an episode purposefully bad, it ends up being better than like 70% of the other episodes in the series. The intro alone boosts it up dramatically. Also me taking the piss out of my old work. Where have you seen that before? Number 15, Attack of the Gloop. The Gloop just screaming in agony for ages is funny. The way it moves is funny, but it still suffers from the issue of the plots just being resolved in like 2 seconds. Number 14, Shigue's Inferno. The Sockman, baby. I love the Sockman. Also features the death of that stupid fucking dinosaur robot from the worst episode in the series. The song knocks this episode down a lot, but hey, we get more Shigue content too, so yeah. Number 13, Fatal Attraction. What's not to love? We got iconic character Magnet Shroom, the PvZ Plush Google document, peak Noctis writing. Even this high, the episodes are just watchable at best. Number 12, Sleepless Dream. All of the characters being completely apathetic to being in the presence of the Lord God of Death and Destruction itself is also really funny considering all of the other horrors they would have been presented with at that point. Number 11, Night of the Living Dead. Great and powerful Yoshi gets brutally mobbed to death. 10 out of 10 episode. Sadly, it does introduce that bastard machine, but other than that, it's a pretty decent episode. Number 10, Mix and Match, has the PG Tips monkey. I like how it starts off as a generic mind-switching episode but devolves into stopping a vengeful ancient spectre by the end. Number 9, Aerial Attack. The title isn't spelled correctly, that's comedy. Has SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs in it, that's comedy. Has Woody attempt to shoot a child with a gun, that's comedy. Number 8, A Basic Philosophy. I just find the visuals of Basic with random objects on his head funny. Like, look at this. Of this. He looks so goofy and comic relief-esque. This alone gets it put at number 8 out of 50. Number 7, The New Recruits. Just a wacky and zany compilation of goofy comic relief characters. What more could you ask for? I like how Noctis progressively gets more and more annoyed. I like how Yoshi single-handedly destroys that fucking machine at the end. But even at 7th place, episodes still aren't good. Number 6, The Reawakening, has White. Instant top 10 spot for that alone. The implications of all of the characters being brutally killed by the embodiment of death and entropy is funny, considering this series is about plants versus zombies. Could have made it to the top 5 if it didn't have that damned song in it. Number 5, The Birds and the Peas. Come on, guys. It's P Daddy.
P Daddy.
P Daddy. This is his episode. Instant top 5 for that. This is why it's the most popular episode in the series, because of P Daddy. Number 4, Garden Warfare, has that scene of Noctis throwing himself out of a window. I mean, come on. Also has my dog in it. Also gets points for being the only episode where I go outside. Number 3, Messing with the Multiverse. All of the different zany universes they go to is funny, but like in a baffling way. Why are they in Gacha Life? Why are they in a 2009 YouTube? Why are they in The Big Bang Theory? Why are they in Family Guy? When I really lean into the absurdity of something, it really shines. Number 2, Bad to the Cone. It features Conehead at his most chaotic. It literally takes God itself to stop him, and it has Garfield with Conehead's face slapped on. Would probably be first if the second half of the episode wasn't just some hands yapping and yapping. Number 1, Screwing with Space-Time. The zombies go back in time to get the plants off the series. It's also a really funny episode where they try to destroy the plants like once, and it just devolves into Conehead stealing the time machine whilst he causes every single major historical event for all of history. Just the implications of that alone are really funny to think about. Conehead caused 2 world wars, multiple virus pandemics, the Chernobyl disaster. What else has this man done? Then he fucking causes the universe to exist. This is Conehead's world now. Not only is this episode probably one of the funniest ones out of all of them, but it also ties into the main plot of the series of Conehead being this incomprehensible, time-devouring horror. But alas, even number 1 is probably like a C tier at best. This series is not very good. It's just an objective fact. But for what it is, it's fine. It could have been worse. Do I regret making this series? A little bit. Do I wish I had never made it at all? No. No, I do not. And you know what? In 60 years, when I'm sat in my little rocking chair and my grandkid hands me an old dusty Enderman plush they found in the attic, I'll probably sit them down and tell them a story of plants versus zombies. Or die of a heart attack. Anyway, this concludes the PvZ Plush Retrospective. Will I ever make plush videos again? Probably not. What will I do with this channel now? I don't know. But thank you all for listening for like 6 hours of a 21-year-old man yelling about his old videos of him playing with soft toys. Goodbye.